Hi. For this video, I was fully prepared to make a tier list of my own to cover all the popular philosophical dilemmas that we deal with on a day-to-day, but I realize this is the World Wide Web. Surely someone's made that already. And lucky for me, someone already has. So here we have 22 philosophical dilemmas. I will be ranking from existential crisis to not a care in the world with how I see it, and I hope you enjoy. Before we get into it, I want to quickly thank you all for the support in the last videos. It means a lot, and I enjoy making these. I hope the flipping of the camera isn't too jarring in this. It just made the most sense for everything. Please enjoy. So first, we have the self-driving car dilemma. And I think the dilemma that's being proposed here, at least one of the many that I could find online, was the idea that in a self-driving car, if there is an imminent crash, because the car is the ownership of the driver and passenger, should it prioritize its owner's lives over the people that it's about to hit outside of the vehicle that will cause more fatalities than inside? Or should it prioritize what is better for the greater quantity of lives saved? This is more of a utilitarian problem. It's kind of like the trolley situation a little bit, except in this one, poses kind of an existential thing for artificial intelligence, because at the end of the day, a life is a life, and more lives saved should be the right answer. I'm going to exclude the idea of there being multiple self-driving cars involved here, because if there were, and not just speeding towards a group of people as a proposed dilemma, I think, well, that's what I think it's proposed. If there were multiple cars, I would say it makes more sense for each car to protect its ownership. Otherwise, there'd be no incentive to buy a car if you can't be guaranteed that it will protect you at the end of the day. That's more of a possessive thing. Although even still, without the cars, it's an important question of, would you still buy a car knowing that it would prioritize the greater of lives saved, even if that means not saving your own? I am not getting through all 20 questions. I'm gonna do 10. I would ultimately say because the car is under one's ownership, because not only because of incentivizing the person to buy this car, but also because of the ownership, it makes more sense for the car to prioritize that who drives it, whoever that would be. I'm gonna put this one in uncomfy. That's not too bad. All right. The next dilemma is Kant's axe murderer. This one I'm not worried about. The base question behind this is, if an axe murderer approaches you and a potential victim of this murder is inside your home, once this axe murderer asks you where is the victim, you should not lie to them. You are stuck between deciding to lie to them or tell them where the victim is, because lying is supposed to be a universal negative. You should not. It shows disrespect to another conscious being. And there's some semantics to be played here, I know, with how people answer this. I saw one thread where people were saying there's a difference between saying something and declaring something to be true, and I don't even know how to get into that. I'm going to say, as simple as it is equally as important to show respect to the victim or potential victim by not revealing their location and ending their life as it is to show respect to the axe murderer by telling him the truth. Therefore, I would not tell the axe murderer where the victim is, because it shows greater respect to the life that I saved, even though I'm slighting the murderer. I'm putting this one in not a care. The next one is the free speech dilemma. Oh, so I think everyone's on some level familiar with this idea. It's balancing freedom of expression and portrayal of oneself with determining if the way the person expresses himself is an overall harm to society. I don't think there's a clear answer to be made here, so I'll just explain as much as I can on how I think about this. Because, of course, even in the modern day, with how communication is socially through social media, it is much easier now to psychologically damage someone with your speech than it used to be. But to that extent, I still don't understand the idea that, like, let's take someone online, for example. If you were to say something negative online or hateful towards a group of people, which Twitter, I don't know, Reddit, you'll find it there. I think there's a social contract to be signed once you create an account for these platforms and begin to use them, that you will see these things. You should be prepared to see these things. It's the World Wide Web. This is going to happen. The real problem is when it comes to consequence for whatever free speech you choose to use. Like if you're in person and someone insults you to your face or says something derogatory to you, you can attack that person. But if we see hate speech as an actual attack of one's character, is it on the same level as assault? Are you defending yourself physically? Are you able to get away with defending yourself physically if you are being assaulted by someone's words? And of course, it's entirely different online where you can't be. So just other people using their freedom of speech to push back against you. I think that a real problem that is faced now, that at least how I see it, is really clouding people's minds on a topic. Like, for example, let's take the surrounded videos actually on YouTube. That's a perfect example. The setup here is that there's one person very well informed on a topic, and then around 20 people that interchange between questioning them or debating them on said topic to try to reach an ultimate answer. And it is important that we have this many people to get varied perspectives, but at what point does allowing everyone's perspective in on a problem become a hindrance, because that person talking is taking up time that could be more productively spent actually discussing something that matters? I'm getting lost in the weeds here. It's in 15 minutes I've been recording. I'm going to cut out a lot of it, and I'm on question 3. I'm going to put this one in sleepless nights. That's a good one. All right, the next one is mandatory organ donation. So the obvious question here is, at least the way I'm going to take it, if you die, if you pass away and you have healthy organs that could be harvested for people that need them, or should you be required to give them these organs? And this really rests on bodily autonomy, what you had the right to do with of your own body. But then it begs an interesting question of, once you die and your consciousness passes on, is that still your own body, or is it just a body? Does your consciousness really determine who owns this suit of flesh? This still isn't even begging the question of, like, logistically how you would facilitate that process. So I'm only focusing on the more philosophical or ethical ideas here. But I'm saying that within the characteristics of our current society, with how we treat the dead and how we treat them as respectfully passed on, etc., it makes the most sense to honor their bodily autonomy post-consciousness leaving their body, for those who believe that's how it works. And that's how I justify there not being mandatory organ donation. I'm going to put that one in meh. Oh, that's perfect. Meh. All right, the next one is the violinist dilemma. And I actually do like this one because I think it's really interesting. So the idea is, you wake up and your kidney is attached to a violinist. Now, this violinist needs your kidney to remain attached to stay alive for 9 months. And the question is, do you give up your bodily autonomy for these 9 months to sustain this violinist so he can live on and have a longer life? Do you sever yourself because you have no moral obligation to stay connected to this person? If you couldn't tell already, it's supposed to be connected to the abortionist debate. And I think it misses a few fundamental ideas. For one, the violinist, after the 9 months, will not need to rely on you anymore, which is not true for a child. And the violinist is currently alive and maintains consciousness throughout these 9 months into post-severance. As it is, this one isn't really related. I don't see the strong connection between this argument and abortion the way it's used. For example, if I was in the situation, I'm severing the line. I don't think it makes me a bad person. I think I'm not going to give up 9 months of my life for something I'm not morally obligated to do in any way. And that's how I see that one. A more interesting dilemma that would tie it in a lot closer is if after the 9 months you had to nurture this violinist back to health for, let's say, theoretically 18 years. You can see how it ties back into the abortion argument, and I still think the answer then is no, obviously, for me. I'm putting this one in not a care in the world. Okay, the next one is the security versus digital freedom argument, and that's, again, something we're all pretty familiar with. If we had this World Wide Web that we all access, is it reasonable to be surveilled, as there is more opportunity to commit malintentioned practices that are for the disparagement of humanity? Or do we honor our personal freedoms as they apply to this new playground for society? I'm not sure how to answer this one, like from a yes or no perspective. I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. What I will say, though, just food for thought, is something very commonly talked about among software engineers and just maintenance workers of the internet is you can't have perfect 50-50 out of 100 between security and ease of access. And ease of access is a really valued trait among many things. The easier something is to access often means the much lower security it has, and the vice versa is true. So which one is more important? I'm going to say this one's talked about a bit. This one is among the, for me, free speech dilemma, because they're also connected to the free speech dilemma and security. Meh. Is the next one the trolley problem? Everyone knows about it. Actually, I have a really interesting idea for this one. I'm going to go to that. There's a website where you can get trolley problems, like very unique ones. I'm just going to take a trolley problem from there and answer it right now, and then that's where I put it on my scale. A trolley is headed towards 5 people. You can pull the lever to divert it to the other track, sacrificing yourself instead. What do you do? This goes entirely against what I said earlier about utilitarianism, because to have any conflict here at all shows that you're not a utilitarianist. Otherwise, I just pull a lever, save 5 lives. I say, for the sake of this game, theoretically, I don't pull a lever because I wouldn't be alive to have more fun questions like this. I'm a pretty bad person. A trolley is headed towards 5 people. You can pull a lever to divert to their track. The original copy of Mona Lisa will be destroyed. What do you do? Pull lever. Art, human life, different. I'm going to go until I find something that actually causes a real dilemma in my mind. Rich man offers $500,000 to pull a lever. Divert the trolley and kill someone else. What do you do? I pull a lever. Someone's going to die either way. I get money out of this. That's just how it is in this world. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Averaging out those problems, this is akin to an itchy sock. Seems about right. All right, next one is Heinz dilemma. Okay, the idea here is a man's wife is dying, and the only medication to save her is owned by a local pharmacist, local druggist, who discovered the formula for this antidote, but charges 10 times more than what he should for it. Now, the husband can only afford half of that cost, but that isn't enough for the pharmacist. Is his right answer to break the law and steal the medicine, or keep to himself and watch his wife die. This could be more of a dilemma to me if it wasn't for the pharmacist obviously upping the price significantly more than he should. But as it is, because the pharmacist I think breaks ethical rulings, it's only fair that the husband can do so as well, especially when after offering to pay more than the fair price. This one doesn't make me think a lot. I'm gonna put this one at a meh. All right, one more. Pascal's wager is the idea that everyone should believe in a God because it's the most rational choice. The idea is you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. If you believe in a God and it's real, then you get eternal bliss or whatever your religion promises. And if you don't believe in a God and it's real, you get damnation. There are a few things wrong with this one for me. Specifically, to start off, there are so many gods and so many religions out there. It's not even an idea of if there was a God to exist. It's not an idea of do you believe in God? It's do you believe in the right God, which is an absurd way to go. But even bigger problem for me is that this says belief is a matter of free will, which it absolutely is not. If I were to think of something that I really don't want right now, and I would want it to happen all of a sudden, I couldn't do that because I fundamentally don't want this to happen. I believe this would be bad for me, therefore I cannot will myself to want otherwise. And the same is for if I really want something to happen and suddenly I don't want it to happen. You can't just change your belief like that with your free will, which is why here it wouldn't apply. Especially in the idea that many religions will say you need to actually believe in this God for it to be saved and salvaged or whatever. I could never fully believe in a deity just because of Pascal's wager. It wouldn't work for me. I'd be damned no matter what. Kind of cruel for God to do that to someone, don't you think? This one's going in the not a care in the world. This is a final layout. I'll do more some other time. This is what I got so far. 10. Luckily, no one sent me spiraling, as we can see. I hope you all enjoyed this. Please feel free to discuss in the comments. I do read those. I do enjoy those a lot. And my coffee link is also in the description. So if you're feeling generous, have a good day.